Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Dave with Nelson Creek Farms, coming to you on a cool, windy, blustery, and good chance of snow Wednesday the 7th of February 2024. We're going to do some repair work on some of the implements around the farm today. Plus, we're going to be turning in the starter for the Allis Chalmers B so that it can be converted to 12 volt. So, first things up though, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about a lot of comments off my last video regarding the disappointing ag show that was locally held here last weekend. Okay everybody, what we're going to do first while I'm getting this piece of implement pulled around here to work on it, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about the disappointing ag show that we've just had here in the Magic Valley. I'm going to start off with this. It was quite a going concern. It was known as Action by the former television company, or owner of the television company that was sponsoring it. It was called Action. They did a lot of their own in-house advertising for it because, well, why not? You know, they're footing the bill for the thing. And yeah, that television station sold to a new company who brought in a new fella from outside that doesn't understand a lick'em's darn about small town rural Idaho, and how the Action show was kind of like the passage of winter and a spring rite to attend. All he was worried about was the financial dollars. So that's what happened there. They jacked up the prices of the booth stalls. Somebody had mentioned they thought it was around $4,000 for a stall in there. Now, about a month ago, I deleted a text message that I got from the general manager or person in charge of the Southern Idaho Ag Show, what it's called now. And I didn't think I was ever going to need it again, and I wish to heck I'd have kept it on my phone, because I could have cut it and pasted it and whatever. And you guys could have read the whole thing yourselves. Basically, what this guy was telling me was that he got in touch with the state of Idaho's Department of Agriculture, found out who the top 10% of producers were in this area that had the highest incomes from ag-related sources, and those 10% of the farmers or ag producers were the ones that got the personal emails, handwritten letters of invite, all that sort of thing. They basically were catering to the high-end clientele. Sounds like a Democratic Party thing to me. And a lot of the people didn't participate this year. One of them was a local fuel company that I used to have to deal with when I was working years ago with an oil company here locally. They had 3 guys set up, 3 guys tear down, and 3 guys rotating for the 3 days of the show. They didn't sell a single fuel filter, not a pump, not a storage tank system, nothing last year. So they flat out didn't even bother to go this year. The guy that I got the tractor from, this LS tractor, they were hounding him last November for his $4,000. Maybe that's where it came from. $4,100, something like that, for a space in the show. But he didn't get his advertising money until this year, so he couldn't participate, which leads me to another one. Out of the 7 or 8, 9, 10 tractor and implement dealers in this immediate area of what we call the Magic Valley, only 3 showed up to the show this year. 3. Yeah. And one of them had employees standing around not doing anything. So, yeah, go figure that. Anyway, we're going to shove this into the shed here. What I'm working on is a loading platform, or loader platform, that goes on a 3-point hitch on the back end of a tractor. So we're going to get that here in the shed out of the wind because it is cold and windy today. I don't feel like coming down with pneumonia for working on this silly thing, so we're just going to set it down in here and deal with it in here, kind of hopefully out of some of this weather. So the downturn in economy, I'm sure, has played some sort of part in not having those small little vendors there. Mom and pop operations where the guy in the wintertime makes headache racks for pallet forks to put on your loader of your tractor, or makes like this carrier thing that I'm going to be working on today. Yeah, none of those little small shops were represented at all this year. And if they were there last year, they got their butts handed to them with big price tag and nothing to show for it. So, yeah. Now, another thing is, and I touched on it a minute ago, is not enough income. And that's what the European farmers are protesting and having all the tractorcades for and all that. When you're buying a brand new, great big, huge tractor to farm your 10, 20,000 acres, and you're spending $300,000 to $400,000 on one of those machines, and you can't change the oil in it because there's a computer program in it that only the dealers have in a little laptop that they got to come out and plug into your machine to reset it. Then they charge you an $800 bill just to do that. Yeah, these big guys can't afford to make it go. But that was the ones that the Ag Show was catering to last year. So little guys like me that have 7 acres total, we got to keep playing with smaller tractors, older equipment, or like I did, upgrade to something with a cab on it. I'm sitting in here. It's fairly nice today. It's in here, but out there it's cold as heck. Yeah. And then there's the other problem that I touched on in the video. There are no new young farmers, or very few, coming into the agricultural game. They are looking at their bottom line on their spreadsheets. If you're a small farmer, say several hundred acres or less, you cannot compete with the great big guys that are 1,000 acres or more, or larger, I should say. You just can't compete. You're not going to get the same price point breaks and that sort of thing from the dealers for tractors and implements and whatever, fuel, from your local fuel distributor, your seed supplier, fertilizer dealer, whatever it is. You're not going to get the same break as the bigger farms are because it's bulk, buy and demand, which is sad. So the new guys that are needing to come in to keep food on our table in 20 years, according to that video I mentioned in that video that I did, they just simply are looking at it and saying, no, I'll just get a job in town. I got 401k, I got medical, I got dental, I got vision. You know, I don't know what to say. It just isn't worth it to be a farmer anymore. A friend of mine suggested I try some horse manure on my strawberries. Personally, didn't much care for it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to the whipped cream. Okay, some of you folks have seen these. These are a 3-point hitch lift pins here. There's a top link attachment there. Basically, it is just a steel framework with some 2x12 material bolted to it that makes a little carryall platform that goes on a 3-point hitch of the back of a tractor. Now, the reason why I'm working on this today is I need to replace that bottom board there so I don't have a hole there to lose stuff out of. And the rear board back here is literally just broken in half, or there's only maybe about a third of it left there. So yeah, that's going to get replaced today too. Okay, what I've done is I've cut through here down to the point where I'm going to hit this board here, but I've notched it back far enough with that longer blade. I should be able to stick it in right above that board, which I can, and then finish cutting it. This piece is broken off, so we'll save that because I'm thrifty, and use that in the fire for the furnace. The hammer isn't quite heavy enough, and I don't have a long enough handle on it, so we're going to use this old bent drawbar deal. If I can get the top of the board to drop down below the underside of this one right above it, then I can, it'll just flip right out. It looks like it's going to do it. So let me undo these nuts here right quick. Maybe we can just pop this puppy right up out of here. You know, I was commenting earlier about economics. Yeah, this is a very minor, simple fix compared to some of the stuff. But you know what, with the economy the way it is, and I do honestly believe things are going to get worse for our nation, what with the election coming up, the border crisis, the economy, etc., so forth and so on. Those of us that can are going to have to keep fixing what we've got, because we aren't going to be able to get another one in just a very short time, I'm afraid. So we got the nuts out off the bolts. There we go. I went to the local box store to pick this up, and yeah, look at right here. That was one of the best boards in the pile. Okay, I hate to tell you that, but for a 2x12, that one, that great big notch in it, was about the best. Here's center line of the board. From here over to there, the only real issue with it is that knot hole. So we're going to save that for the bottom piece that goes down here, because it isn't cracked. Because from here that way, you get down here and a crack starts right about here where this knot is, and you can see it running this way. I don't want that on the back end of the or the bottom rear board, because there's no support under here to keep this from busting again, and that's the main reason why we're doing this in the first place, is replace that bottom board. So this will be the board that goes where I just knocked one out, and from here, the center line that way, will be the bottom deck board. I do need to do a tool review on these eventually. I was going to do a 1-year review, etc., so forth. That's as far down as it goes. It will cut through a 2x, and there's still a gap under here between the board and this piece of angle iron that those teeth won't hit, so we'll tighten this up and we'll cut the line. But it's always important to make sure you don't go too deep down through and hit something underneath. Yeah. Something kind of about like that. The bottom board of the backrest is in place now. That's this piece here. I won't tell you how I managed to bugger up my finger and what I said, but I ended up having to use the Ryobi circular saw here at a slight angle, tilting the blade this way, and running it along the top here to cut a relief to get that board to lay back down in there. So it's wedged into place now, and all I got to do is take the Sawzall and cut this top board off here that is actually the rearmost board of the deck. The bolts turn here and there, so I'm going to have to cut on either side of these angle iron pieces down and probably hatchet that thing out of there or something. This whole drawbar is actually coming in kind of handy today. Come on. Okay, you're going to be that way. Well, that's all right. There we go. Now I get a pipe wrench on those bolts and hold them and undo the nuts, and we'll get this other board fitted. Clean the rust off the bolts so we can reuse them. Waste not, want not, right? We'll lube them up with a little bit of oil before I put them back together again. Don't know that it'll help ever getting them apart again, but you never know. And we'll chase the threads on the one that kind of got a little buggered up with the pipe wrench. I'm going to put that big knot hole V-notch down into the front where it'll be a little bit supported by the angle iron framework of the thing. You know, I got thinking about it, and in all honesty, this thing has held up very well for its age. It's about 25 years old. So anyway, I'll grab the drill. We'll put some bolts through here, or holes, put the bolts in, flip it up, and then do the same on the other side before this storm gets any worse. Whatever it's going to do, though, it's coming down pretty well. We got quite a little bit of a storm going on here right now. Yeah. We're going to have white ground here in a minute. Okay. What I'm doing is just marking them. So I can flip them up and get some down pressure on them so I can drill them. Because this bit, actually, it's pretty dadgum dull. How dull is it? It's as dull as my wit. Oh, no wonder that one wasn't one to drill. It's right in the middle of a knot hole, or knot, yeah. Yeah, we'll make it do it anyway. Yeah, something kind of like that. I'll use some of that hydraulic oil that I salvaged out of the Allis Chalmers B's loader assembly to lubricate up these bolts, make those nuts go on a little easier. In this angle, you can see what I'm talking about there's no support out here on this end of the board, which is okay. I really should have another hole right here for a bolt on both ends of that angle iron. But yeah, it is what it is, and this is kind of a sacrificial board anyway. Now, some may say, Dave, why don't you put a steel angle iron framework around that? Well, if that gets buggered up, you got to make a whole new one again and whatever, and that's a bigger pain and bigger expense than it's worth. I would rather have the lumber there that has some give to it. In case I snag something, the lumber is going to give over the steel. Okay, I got that hole, but I can't do this one because of the pin bolt here for the 3-point. So what I'm going to have to do is measure from this hole up to this hole, and then transfer that measurement around to the other side and drill that other one from the top down instead of from the bottom up, like I'm doing here, so to speak. Well, there it is with the new board here in the back and up here at the front end of the thing. That's sitting right side up now. I think in hindsight, next time I replace this rear board, I will use a 2x10 instead of a 2x12, although losing 2 inches of length on that may or may not be an issue. We'll just leave it like that though, because this is 25, 30 years old just the way it sits, so that's not too bad of a run. That's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to go snag the carry-all platform here with the cutter edge of the bucket. Yep. I missed. It was too high. Anyway, we're going to catch it like I've been doing. There we go. And yeah, we're going to back out of here and go park the thing. Well, that's going to do it for today from Nelson Creek Farms. I appreciate you all checking in, seeing what old Farmer Dave's up to. Not many other people do, so I'm glad you all do. And thank you to the new subscribers. We've picked up a couple in the last day or two. I really do appreciate that. Doesn't cost you nothing. All you got to do is click on that big red thing right down there. It says subscribe on it. You don't even have to click on the bell icon if you don't want to get notified every time there's a new video out. You just click on the subscribe thing. That's more than enough to make me happy. Anyway, as always, I'm Farmer Dave wishing you well. Behave, be kind, and be courteous to your fellow inhabitants of this here little blue marble. Anyway, we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye for now.